what year do you see Bitcoin surpassing all-time highs? So crossing that 69K. Would it be do you think 2024, end of it, later?
I would say 2025, because I think we'll see the halving in early 2024. That should, as long as we stick to the cycle, that should mean that the price kind of gradually climbs over the rest of that year. To early 2025, I think the 1st of January 2025 is the date when central banks will be able to hold Bitcoin, will be able to hold crypto on their balance sheets. They'll be able to hold up to 2% of their reserves in crypto. That, I think, could be a huge catalyst. So I would say I don't think 2024, 2025 is when I think we could see all-time highs again, realistically.
Bitcoin held comfortably in its most recent range on Monday as investors weighed the latest developments in the U.S. debt ceiling stalemate. Crypto traders are not sure how Bitcoin will behave throughout the next several days of debt ceiling negotiations, Edward Moya, senior market analyst for foreign exchange market maker Oanda, wrote in a note. Moya added, "The risk of default is very small, but if it were to happen, that could feel like an uppercut to risk appetite, which would send cryptos sharply lower. Bitcoin appears content to trade near the lower boundaries of its recent trading range between $26,500 and $30,000. Hello and welcome to Money Talks. In today's video, Coin Bureau share with us his prediction for Bitcoin and crypto for 2023, and when we will see an all-time high again in Bitcoin.
Let's face it, I think most people now believe that the Fed are going to pause. So, and probably just keep rates there for the next few months at least, obviously depending on the data. I would say don't rule out the possibility of another hike. The next meeting, I think, is either I think the next meeting is on the 14th of June, and the day before it is when the next CPI print comes out. So the CPI for May will come out on the 13th of June, Fed meeting the following day. That could be really, really interesting, I think. So that's going to be a big one. So like I say, I haven't entirely ruled out the possibility of another rate hike. I'm not sure the market would particularly enjoy that. So yeah, there's just a lot to think about at the moment, and that's before we get to things like the debt ceiling crisis, the SEC. Obviously, that's kind of simmered down a little bit, everything going on there. But I mean, that's still happening. The SEC is still on the warpath. There are still things like CBDCs being worked on to worry about as well. And there's a recession that everybody seems to think is due any day now, but kind of hasn't quite manifested itself. So yeah, this is a fascinating time for crypto, really, because especially with a high rates environment and a recession coming, this is uncharted territory for the market. So I think it's going to be, even though price action I feel may not be all that interesting for the next few weeks and months, I still think the space itself could be about to get more interesting.
Bitcoin price liquidity remains cyclically low in realized terms. This may be because many investors are breaking even near the current Bitcoin price. Bitcoin's price is mirroring historically oversold levels, with 9% of unrealized profit remaining in the market. Since 1960, the government has increased the debt limit 78 times, but the current charged political environment has raised anxiety about the willingness of lawmakers to work together.
I'm staying on the sidelines at the moment, Austin. I don't know. I've got theories on which way the market is going to go. I'm still in the short term kind of fairly bearish. So I'm happy to just kind of sit on the sidelines, watch this play out, keep my powder dry, because I think it's just so difficult to know exactly what we're going to see play out over the coming months. So I'm kind of it helps for me because it means I can be a bit of a more sort of I feel like a bit of a more neutral observer. Just kind of sitting back and going, do you know what? I'm not going to dive into anything at the moment. I want to see how this plays out. And obviously that kind of ties into my job, which is to talk about it and tell people what I'm seeing. So I think that kind of makes it easier as well. I'm less kind of emotional about it at the moment.
In other words, Bitcoin traders are waiting for a potential market trigger once again that could decisively push BTC prices in either direction. One major potential event will be the Federal Reserve's decision on interest rates next month. Currently, the conflicting outlook on raising interest rates is likely the main factor behind the sideways action of the stocks, including risk assets and cryptocurrencies. In fact, BTC price has seen one of its least volatile periods since April, historic volatility data shows. The technicals, meanwhile, show that a potential breakout above Bitcoin's 50-day exponential moving average, 50-day EMA, the red wave, of around $27,580 is in play. If this happens, the BTC price may once again retest the important $30,000 resistance level, where a rejection will be highly probable upon the first attempt. Conversely, a pullback from the 50-day EMA would put the BTC price en route toward the next big support level for a potential bounce at its 200-day EMA, the blue wave, near $25,000.
Certainly, it fits nicely into the market cycle that crypto has been in for most of its existence now. So I think that narrative enough will help to drive more speculation, will help to drive some positive price action. But I think so much depends. When's the halving is April next year, I think. So we've got about 6 or 7 months left of this year, and I think what I would be hoping to see, what would make me a lot more positive about what we see in April and before, is if we start to really see inflation get hammered by those high rates in the States. I think they'll have to keep them high for quite some time. I think a pause is almost certainly on the cards at some point. Some people think we'll see a cut. Obviously, that depends on whether the Fed manages to break anything in the economy, which is perfectly possible. So what I'll be looking out for is a generally kind of more positive sentiment about the markets as we come towards the end of the year. I'm not expecting to see things sort of miraculously better, but I would hope that inflation is really sort of under control and firmly on its way down by the end of the year. There's talk about cutting rates. Obviously, a rate cut doesn't necessarily mean that the markets go up. Quite often a rate cut means that something has broken in the system. So just having rates go lower isn't necessarily going to supercharge the market. But I would be hoping to see some green shoots and some all-around sort of greater positivity about not just crypto, but I think the whole economic picture in general. And I guess some clarity on whether or not we're going to see a recession in the United States and elsewhere. The UK, for instance, just sort of really narrowly avoided a recession by the skin of its teeth. But the possibility is still there. So I think some clarity on that. Markets love certainty, don't they? So I think if we know where we stand, I think that could be helpful as well.
So, what are your thoughts? Is it a good time to buy Bitcoin? Tell us in the comments. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you soon with the next video. Thank you so much for watching.